Hello, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I encourage you to subscribe. I'm barely building this, and more videos will be coming up. Um, so, in this video, we're going to discuss simplifying two expressions. I have given two examples. I'm going to do the first example right now, and we're going to use the properties of exponents in order to simplify this. If you have not if you have not watched the previous videos, I encourage you to watch those first and then come back to this video in order for you to understand this. So let's see what we have on the first example. We have x to the power of 2 times y to the power of 3, and all of this is being multiplied times x to the power of 5 times y to the power of 2. Well, if you watch my previous videos, or maybe you already come to this video knowing the properties of exponents, something that we can do, or that I see here, is that this expression is being multiplied times the other one. The parentheses imply multiplication, and the property that I'm going to use to simplify this is the product of power property. And well, I can rewrite this in this way: x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 5, and then I have y to the power of 3 times y to the power of 2. If you notice, all my terms are being multiplied, but the only ones that I can combine, or the exponents that I can combine, are those that have the same base. In this case, the ones with the x's and the ones with the y. So these can actually be written as x to the power of 2 plus 5, and y to the power of 3 times y to the power of 2 can be written as y to the power of 3 plus 2. Well, this just simplifies to, I'm going to write it down here, x to the power of 2 plus 5 is just x to the power of 7, and y to the power of 3 plus 2 is just y to the power of 5. So that will simplify my answer. That is example number 1. Some people can see this from far ahead. Well, they see x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 5. That just means 2 plus 5, and that's 7. And then 3 plus 2 is 5. But one more time, I can only do that because they're multiplying each other. Let me jump into example number 2. Example number 2 is a little bit more complicated, and I will actually have to use more properties. This one, and there are a few that I see that there's a negative exponent, so I might have to use the negative exponent property. And I also see that this z is raised to the power of 0, so I can use the 0 property. So let's start there. Actually, z to the power of 0 is 1. Well, I'm going to scratch this off, not because it gets cancelled, but because 1 times anything will just give me that other thing. So whenever I have a variable raised to the power of 0, I can forget about it in a sense, because z to the power of 0 is just 1. So let me continue with the rest. So x to the power of 5 times y to the power of negative 1, it's being multiplied times x to the power of 3 over y to the power of 7. This is where knowing fractions comes in handy. Actually, all of this is over 1. Whenever you see something written like this, something that helps me is to write it over 1. That way I know that I'm going to multiply across. So I can rewrite this like this. So x to the power of 5 times y to the power of 1 multiplied times x to the power of 3 is just x to the power of 5 times x to the power of 3 times y to the power of negative 1 over 1 times y to the power of 7 is just y to the power of 7. Well, let's see what we can do from here. I can actually apply the property of product of powers, because I have exponents multiply with the same base. So x to the power of 5 times x to the power of 3, that is just x to the power of 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. And now here, I will have to use the quotient of powers property, which means that I will subtract the exponent on the numerator minus the exponent on the denominator. So this is equal to y to the power of -1 minus 7 is -8. Now I'm not finished here because I still have that negative exponent. So if you have seen my previous video, you should know that in order to get rid of that -8, I can just do the reciprocal of y to the power of 8, which is, so y to the power of -8. The reciprocal of this is 1 over y to the power of 8. Well, x to the power of 8 divided by y to the power of 8. That will be my answer. In simple words, if you have a variable with an exponent that is negative on the numerator, move it to the denominator. If the variable is on the denominator and it has a negative exponent, in order to make it positive, move it to the numerator. And that is the easiest way to remember this, to change negative exponents to positive exponents.